These are the G33 notes on surface area of prisms. What is surface area? The surface area of a three-dimensional object is the amount of square units that cover the entire object. To find the surface area of a prism, you must find the area of each face and then add the answers together. So whenever you're finding the surface area, you have to break it down into a net and find the area of each part and then just add the answers together. So for an example, we're going to show a cube. So here's a picture of a cube. It's 4 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet. A cube has 6 sides. If you look at each side, you will notice that each side is a square. You will need to find the area of each square by using the correct formula and then add the answers together to calculate the surface area. So if you look at the drawing, we have the shape of each face broken down. So the surface area of a cube would have 6 different squares. The formula for each of those squares is to take the area of each square and add them together. So if you look at this formula, we have side squared for each square, and there are 6 different squares. So we would add those areas all together, side times side plus side times side, etc. Or the surface area could be represented by 6 times side squared, because all the sides of a cube are the same. What is the surface area of the cube above? So if you look at the drawing, the diagram of the cube, what I want you to do right now is pause the video, calculate the surface area of that cube below, and then press play to check your answer. So if you calculated correctly, you would have taken 4 squared for each of the 6 sides and added it all together. You end up getting 96 square feet. Please turn your notes to the next page. A rectangular prism is similar to a cube. A rectangular prism also has 6 sides. If you look at each side, you will notice that each side is a rectangle. You will need to find the area of each rectangle by using the correct formula and then add the answers together to calculate the surface area. So if you look at the drawing of the net broken down, we have a top, a bottom, front, back, and 2 sides. To find each area of each face, you're going to find the area of each rectangle, which would be length times width. So you're taking the length times width for each of the 6 sides and adding them all together. It's different than a cube because not all of the sides are the same. You could also think of it as taking 2 times the length times the width for each of the top, bottom, front, back, and the 2 sides. Right now I want you to pause the video and find the surface area of the rectangular prism above, and then press play to check your answer. In the rectangular prism above, we have a 7 by 3 rectangle, actually 2 of those, 2 7 by 4 rectangles, and 2 3 by 4 rectangles. When you multiply those and add them all together, you end up getting 122 square centimeters. Turn your notes to the next page. A triangular prism is a little bit different than a cube or a rectangular prism. It has 5 sides. If you look at each side, you will notice that the bases are triangles and the lateral faces are rectangles. You will need to find the area of each face by using the correct formula and then add the answers together to calculate the surface area. So if you look at the net broken down into parts, we have 2 triangles and 3 rectangles. The formulas are a little bit different because now we have some triangles. For each triangle, we take 1/2 base times height. 1/2 base times height again for the other triangle. And then for the 3 rectangles, we're taking length times width, just like before. You can also think of it as taking 2 times the area of the triangle plus the 3 rectangles, because the 2 triangles will always be the same in this kind of prism, but the rectangles won't always be the same. Now I want you to find the surface area of the triangular prism above. Press pause on the video and press play to check your answer. For the triangles, you take 1/2 times 6 times 4 for each triangle, 10 times 6 for one rectangle, and 10 times 5 for the other 2 rectangles. You could also think of it as taking 2 times the area of the triangle, and then add the areas of the 3 rectangles to get a total of 184 square inches. Turn your notes to the next page. Now we're going to talk about how to find the volume of prisms. What is volume? The volume of a 3-dimensional object is the amount of cubic units it takes to fill the object up. So this is different than surface area, because in surface area we're finding square units, which are just on the outside. Volume, we're finding the cubic units, which is how much it takes to fill the object up. The correct notation to use when measuring volume is to use an exponent of 3. So we'd use centimeters cubed, feet cubed, inches cubed, or units cubed, or any other unit for volume. To find the volume of a prism, you must first calculate the area of the base, and then multiply it by the height of the prism. So here we have the standard formula for any prism. That formula for volume is the area of the base times the height. Make sure to remember that the capital B stands for the area of the base, not just the length of the base. And that area could be of any shape. So it says, what does the letter represent in each formula? V stands for volume, B stands for area of the base, and H stands for the height of the prism. So this formula will work for any prism, including rectangular prisms, triangular prisms, etc. Turn to the next page, and I want you to calculate the area of the base and the height, and then find the volume of each prism. For this first figure, we have a rectangular prism. First, I want you to find the capital B, or the area of the base. Remember, the area of this base is going to be the area of the square on the bottom of the figure. Then find the height, and finally calculate the volume by taking the area of the base times the height. Please pause the video to check your answer after you're finished. For this first one, the area of the base would be 6 times 3, which is 18 millimeters squared. The height is 11, which is given, which means the volume, we take 18 times 11 to get 198 millimeters cubed. Please find the volume of the following 2 prisms, and pause the video before you find your answer, and then press play to check your answer. For the triangular prism, to find the area of the base, you have to take 1/2 times 4 times 5, because it is a triangle, so you take half base times height, which equals 10. For the height, it's given, it's 9 millimeters, which means the volume would be 10 times 9, or 90 millimeters cubed. For the last figure, which is a cube, the area of the base is 7 times 7, or 49 millimeters squared. The height is 7 millimeters, which means the volume would be 49 times 7, or 343 cubic millimeters.